Alright guys, the last thing I wanted to cover with 1942 and Vietnam RFA editing was getting air vehicles to function on maps that they're not previously on. Now I haven't actually played around with this in 1942, so I don't know if it matters there, but I'm assuming it possibly does. But I know for sure you're going to need this if, say, you're adding air vehicles to any of the land maps in Vietnam that don't have any helis or any jets at all on them to begin with. So I've got Huey here, and if you're sort of feeling a bit lost with all my folder management and stuff, just sort of watch my first video and have a look at how I go through setting yourself up to begin with for RFA modding. It's about a 40-minute tutorial, but it'll pretty much get you in the habit of doing all this stuff at a pretty quick pace, getting your head around what you can and can't adjust client side or server side. So we've got Huey here, and this is my edited version. So I've got all this here because I've adjusted some control points, but I know these are my actual object spawns and templates that I want to play with. But this is a map that normally doesn't have any air at all. Whereas my version, I have no tanks and plenty of air. So what you're going to want to do is in AI, the strategic areas file is the one you're going to need to adjust. So we'll open it up and we'll have a look what I've got added in. So straight off the bat, you want to make sure that this line for create vehicle group air vehicles is there. If it's not, add it in. And then have a look at all these strategic areas. Realistically, unless they piggyback off another strategic area, you're going to want to make sure that this allowed vehicle group air vehicles line you've got is in there as well. So realistically, you just copy and paste that there. Now this is actually an original copy, so I don't want to muck around with this. But basically, you'd go down and every single one of these strategic areas that has allowed vehicle groups listed on it, because some of them piggyback off others and you don't have to worry about it. All of them that already have, an air vehicle listed, pop it in there as well. So we go down to Citadel. I've got a line there for that. For Palace, same thing. I've added a line there for the air vehicles and so on. Realistically, that's all you've got to adjust, I believe, but just making sure, again, that there is a create vehicle group air vehicles on there. Sometimes you've got to add that. Sometimes you don't have to worry about it. I don't think you really need to play with this at all. I haven't had to at all so far. Just make sure you've got create vehicle group air vehicles there. And then, like I said, every strategic area should also have aiStrategicArea.addAllowedVehicleGroup air vehicles. You can basically copy and paste this line and then just put air vehicles in instead. And just have a look at each of these flags that has some allowed vehicle groups. If it's got common or troops or amphibious vehicles, any of those three on there, light vehicles, heavy vehicles, well, realistically, any of those 5 on there, chuck air vehicles on alongside them as well. As I've done so here in my edited copy. And otherwise, close that and close that. You're pretty much right to adjust the map however else you were going to. So having a look at co-op, I actually had to use conquest control point templates, while single player object and soldier spawned some templates to actually adjust the rest of my map. So I've actually got flipped NVA and US spawns out of that. And then here with my object spawns and templates, you can add any sort of air vehicle you like. Now, it doesn't necessarily even need to be helis. You can add planes. It's A-OK. It's just that without adjusting your strategic areas file, if you do edit your vehicle templates and add AirVehicles, the map's going to crash. Now, another thing is, with adding AirVehicles to maps in Vietnam, there are problems with the AC-47 bomber and the OH-6 Loach. I haven't actually tested the Sky Raider, but I know the AC-47 and the Loach, there are issues with having the AI jump in. I believe with the AC-47 you can't even get the AI to work on the map at all to begin with the custom maps. I mean, with the default maps. But yeah, guys, other than those little caveats, it should be a-okay for you to go adding helicopters and even the jets, assuming you can find somewhere that's a suitable runway, to any of the maps that currently don't have helicopters or any air on them to begin with. And big thank you to Powerstomp for being the one to show me this.